Let's bring in security expert now, Dr. Kabiru Adamu, who joins us for more on this chat. Dr. Adamu, I know you've been following this situation as well. We've had you a couple of times since this has happened, and it's 1 month now. The armed gangs claim not to be after money. That much we know from some family members that have been outspoken. They don't want money. Do you understand? Do you know what may be motivating them for these renewed attacks? We saw those attacks at the airport in Kaduna, and again a day after, 24 hours after, on this train.
Hello, Adesua and Ngozi. Yeah, the motivations are multifaceted, but the most obvious one appears to be the terroristic one. In other words, use innocent persons in an attempt to achieve an objective. Now, that objective, the most obvious one, is to get some of their members that are in government captivity to be released. There is also an associated one, which is slightly political, demonstrate the inability or the failure of the government in providing security. And this keys into the political season that we're in at the moment. And then the third one is the financial one. Of course, we know when they released one of the victims a couple of weeks ago, they did collect about 100 million naira. So that's purely financial. For now, those are the three major reasons that have come to the fore in terms of what their motivations are.
Yes, indeed. And Dr. Kabiru Adamu, how do you think, how best really should the Nigerian government and of course the state government led by El Rufai should respond to this demand by the terrorists? And what would be the implications of actually accepting or meeting them halfway in any way?
When you are negotiating, you want to be in a position of strength. In this instance, the government, unfortunately, is not in a position of strength. But then there is a lot that can be done, and I'm hoping that it's being done, through channels that we cannot discuss here in public, to turn the cards in favor of the government, put pressure on them to a point where the negotiation would be in their interest. Right now, they are calling the shots. They are making the kind of demands that they want. But we can turn that if we use channels that are available in intelligence fields. And I'm hoping that, again, that the government is doing that. Unfortunately, I don't want to go deep into that because it may compromise, if at all government is already doing that. I know from my sources that government is doing a lot in terms of reaching out, in terms of trying to free these victims. So I'm going to stop here.
I wonder if you're as shocked as I am, Dr. Kabiru Adamu, to hear that the terrorists are able to have access to medical supplies and medical doctors to even deliver a pregnant woman of her baby. But what does that also say? Are they trying to send a message for families that are waiting anxiously and for the nation in general? Should we pick out anything from, the gesture, whatever we may call this, from the terrorists about those in their captivity?
So just to state that what your correspondent said, it's in kind of what I have from my sources corroborates what your correspondent is saying. We know that immediately after the incident, they did allow medical doctors to see, at least a medical doctor to see some of the injured victims. We also know, and very recently, there was an attempt to get medical doctors to see, especially the 2 pregnant women that are in captivity. So all of this is tying in with what your correspondent mentioned. Now, there is no there's nothing saying that the government did not either allow this as part of a negotiation process. It's very possible that this is a part of a negotiation process. We don't know this at this stage. When you are engaged in negotiation, there are several things you do. Sometimes it's the money or whatever it is, the actual demand comes at the end. But you make a demand, it's like chess. You make a move, you make another one, and then you come to a kind of conclusion. This, for me, is a positive development. It shows that they are concerned about the welfare and the lives of the victims, and perhaps they would even do a lot, including jeopardizing their own safety to, allow for, the medical care and condition of some of the victims. So yes, it's a positive development, but we have to be careful that lives are involved so that we don't say too much at this stage.
Absolutely. Dr. Kabiru Adamu, do stay with us while we take this next story. Well, Nigerian security authorities say they've uncovered a plot by criminal gangs to launch terrorist attacks around the country. The Department of State Services warned the public about plans to return the country to what it called the pre-2015 era of bombings. It advised Nigerians to implement basic security measures to deter the threats, especially during and after the holidays and festive celebrations. Nigeria is struggling to tackle various forms of armed violence, including a deadly insurgency in the northeast and sophisticated criminal kidnapping networks. Well, of course, we still have Dr. Kabiru Adamu. Dr. Kabiru Adamu, what do you make of this warning coming from the DSS? The basic question is, if the DSS have uncovered this plan, why don't they go ahead and apprehend or arrest the criminals?
I wish I could answer that question, Ngozi. Unfortunately, I can't. But it's the question that is on the mouth of every Nigerian. This warnings are a carryover from the former security strategy, national security strategy, where warnings are put out as a way of deterrence. In modern day security, you go after the enemy, you arrest the enemy, you put forward evidence to show that this enemy is planning this. You prosecute him as a way of stopping others from trying to do the same thing. So we're encouraging and we're hoping that the DSS will go beyond these types of warning. Let's remember that this is the second warning it's put in as many months. I think it put out one not too long ago where it indicated that certain political elements were trying to create rancor. And then, of course, this is a follow-up to that. And frankly, there is a political element to this latest warning where it referred to pre-2015 era. I would want and hope that what would be more important and useful to Nigerians is to arrest those that are planning to do this. And then secondly, to also tell Nigerians how to deal with bombing situations. For that, I would advise Nigerians, there is an app that is free. It's available on all smartphones. It's called Citizens 8. Citizens 8 has different ways to respond to terrorist attacks. There are different types of terrorist attacks, from bombing to active shooter situations. So Citizens 8 gives you what to do when you are confronted with such situations. So I'm hoping that the DSS will go further than just issuing such a warning. It will tell Nigerians what to do when they encounter what looks like an IED. A lot of Nigerians, we may think those of us that are educated have an idea of what an IED is, but the average Nigerian doesn't know what an IED is. I monitor development situations in the northeast and other parts of the country. Children go about playing, they see bags, they pick them up, and the next thing a bomb goes off. So we need to tell Nigerians what an IED looks like, and we also need to tell Nigerians what to do if they suspect this is an IED. Provide numbers that Nigerians can call. Anti-bomb squads for both the police and the DSS should be reachable. We should also have signages that we can put in various places, including these public places that were mentioned in that warning, telling Nigerians what to do if they do encounter. All of these things that I've said are mentioned in this Citizens 8 app that is available on most smartphones.
Very useful information there from Dr. Kabiru Adamu, Global Security Consultant, joining us on Newsnight.